that there's a crew in town. The head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Dog passed away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Neighbors hide behind their blinds. Whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside. A treacherous reality in the pines.
Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight couldn't match the cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise. All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be
Hello, everybody. How are you this evening? How are you? How are you? Welcome to the show. My name is Elizabeth, and this is Hillbilly Crime. So, I've got my dogs over here going crazy. Sorry. I'm probably going to have to get up and let her out. How is everybody? Well, this has been a big week. It's been a big few days. All the talk is about what's going on down at MCHC. Mountain, let's see, what is the name of it here? Mountain Comprehensive Health Corporation. So that's the name of it, I guess. But everybody just calls it MCHC. And what it is it's kind of like the county medical clinic. I mean, it's a really, really big deal. It's probably where a majority of our county's citizens see doctors. And so a couple days ago, it was reported that the feds are here, and they have went up to, and they're not just here in Letcher County. It's been reported they're all over eastern Kentucky. They've been spotted in Harlan County, in Leslie County, Knott County, Pike County, and they're at the pharmacies. And they've been going into these pharmacies, allegedly, and pulling pharmaceutical records, I guess. prescriptions. And we've been told that there are 3 doctors that are included in this investigation. And remember, this is an investigation. You know, if they're going in and they're doing this, it's not something that they are broadcasting. They're not calling the news stations and saying, hey, meet us down here at the hospital and we'll give you an interview. They're not doing that, you guys. So, I mean, we got it and we weren't supposed to have it. Okay? We weren't supposed to have that information. That's what it's, it's kind of the point. Hit the like button on your way in, please. I kind of went ahead and upgraded my StreamYard. I feel really, really bad. This whole time I have been blaming StreamYard for my freezing up. And I was wrong, you guys. It was as simple. It was as simple as the browser that I was using. Instead of using Chrome, which we usually use for a lot of stuff, who would have ever known? I am not a techie, so I had absolutely no idea. And I switched. I spent $1,000 upgrading my computer equipment, which I needed to do anyway. But I did that. I've got the biggest computer or internet package you can possibly have. I did that. And we just went through and suffered through all that freezing up. I feel really bad. So anyway, I upgraded my StreamYard. So hopefully we're going to have a few new little gadgets here or there. I'm supposed to have 4 seats now. So I think I can bring Mommy and Jenny on at the same time. And I'm super excited about that. Have Mommy and Jenny both on. Well, or anybody else. Gavin, just to do a little housekeeping real quick. Gavin Fish is our buddy here at Hillbilly Crime, and he is now full-time YouTubing, true crime YouTubing, part-time, not a real job. But this is a real job. Like, people don't understand. I don't ever take a day off, ever. I work, I feel like 30 hours a day. I'm worn out, exhausted. But, I love it. I wouldn't have it no other way. I am living my dream, honey. Living my dream. Unbelievable. Okay, so we're going to look at a couple things. So van breeding, let me get back to that real quick. So van breeding is one of the doctors at MCHC. And let me see. Somebody sent me something. And it explains how MCHC came about. So let me read this. Okay. This should help us understand MCHC from the beginning, okay? Lois Baker was the first CEO of an established MCHC. Lois Baker was a coal operator in the early days. She was a very good friend of Congressman Carl D. Perkins of Hindman, Kentucky. Representative Carl Perkins was one of the most powerful men who ever served in the U.S. Congress. He was chairman of the Education and the Ways and Means Committee in Congress. He was over all of the federal educational programs and was oversight of spending from the federal government. He established the vocational system in American and also was in charge of the educational loans, including the Perkins loans named after him. It's pretty powerful. Hal Rogers now holds his seat in Congress. So it was the guy before Hal Rogers. So this is very important to understand this history. Now, friend of Lois Baker, now deceased. Now, first, Lois Baker had 2 children from her first marriage. One was L.M. Cottle. He's the CEO of MCHC. He was also a Kentucky state policeman. So that's the same guy that we see in the pictures that in one of our shows a while back, we showed the retirement party for Stamper, Detective Stamper that is in the Mickey Stines case, the one that got up on the stand and testified in the arraignment, and who was the lead detective in Mickey's case. Well, he retired about a month ago, give or take. And convenient, right? He retires. There was like 3 or 4 of them that retired in like the same day. Well, so he retires, and whenever we were looking at the pictures that they had of the big retirement party and stuff, this Cottle guy was there. And I said, why would he be at the Kentucky State Police retirement party for Detective Stamper? For Detective Stamper. He's not been a Kentucky State policeman. This Cottle guy has not been a Kentucky State policeman in a very long time. Very long time. Why would he be there? Is he friends with Stamper? He must be. Or why would he be at Stamper's retirement party? It just felt very odd that he would go to that and be seen, photographed, all up in this big retirement party, seen talking to all of them, all of the people that were there, kind of doing the rounds of the room. But he was a Kentucky State policeman at first, and then he became a lawyer. Shocking how many lawyers we have running around Whitesburg who practiced law in Whitesburg. She also had 2 children by her second marriage to Nathan Baker, who held many positions in Whitesburg, including chief of police and mayor, etc. One of those kids was Dr. Wade Baker, who works at MCHC. Now, isn't that the gynecologist, Wade Baker? Ain't he the gynecologist that looks at all of our girl naked parts? Ain't that him? Oh, I've heard about Dr. Baker. When the coal business went belly up, her friend, Congressman Perkins, allegedly offered her a contract to build all the furniture for the U.S. military airports. She established a manufacturing company over at the Colson area and began doing so. It started to have problems with the government contracts. Then she was facing charges federally, allegedly, and no one knows what happened to those charges. Congressman Perkins, maybe? Perkins then got millions of dollars allocated to promote health care in eastern Kentucky. They sent out requests for someone to head this task. Someone with a medical background, a master's. Now, how did Lois Baker get the job with no background in this field or even a master's? Well, she grew this primary health organization into one of the largest care clinic programs in the nation. Her board was appointed internally. So all her people, and most likely is still today, the board of directors for MCHC would be very, very internal. So they would all be very loyal to each other. Now, she did a lot of other great things, including bringing a nursing home into Letcher County. So she really is a staple, honestly, in Letcher County. I don't think that she probably gets enough credit now as probably what she should. We hear a lot of the deceased men, but what about the women who did lots of great things? But so the Hattons, because they're all related down there, okay? The courthouse, MCHC, and you've got to think how much power that they wield, being one of the largest in the nation, right? She's built that. So, and now she's gone. So you've got the rest of them left running it all now. But the Hattons, Jamie Hatton, who's our prosecutor, our county attorney for Whitesburg, he's also the one that always sits in on the fiscal court meetings. So he's very, very well aware of the fiscal court's responsibility in overseeing the jail, right? Well, the jail is who MCHC is contracted with for treating the inmates in many different ways. But so you've got Jamie Hatton, who's the prosecutor, and you've got Angie Hatton, who's his sister, she's also an attorney, which I was shocked to see that she says she is a civil rights attorney. With all of this happening in Whitesburg, just blows me away. But she's a civil rights attorney, and she was one of our state representatives for a short period of time. But the Hattons come by way of Ernest Cook of Cook Trucking Company. That company was worth millions. And an interesting fact it is, I knew this. He couldn't read or write. Ernest Cook couldn't, and he couldn't talk very plain either. I've heard people say that you had to just know him and know what he was saying because he couldn't talk. If you didn't know him, you wouldn't know what he was saying. People had to kind of interpret for him if they didn't know him. But I've also heard that he was a really good fella. Like he would help his guys if they needed something. He would always help them. MCHC had one of their first large clinics in the old Daniel Boone Hotel. The one that they keep giving millions and millions and millions of dollars to renovate in downtown Whitesburg. Yeah, that we've not seen any traction on at all. The whole roof collapsed several years ago, and it was like an explosion set off. But that's very interesting. Another subject owned by the Dawhares. Now, there was an old Dawhares building on that street, right on Main Street. There was a Dawhares, I remember, years ago that was there. They have clinics all over Eastern Kentucky now. MCHC today, you have CEO Mike Cottle. No known medical experience or CEO experience. He was a state policeman and a lawyer, but he serves as the CEO of MCHC, which is a nonprofit organization. We're going to look at the filing here in just a second. We're going to look at where all that money is at, or at least where they say it's at. Chief Financial Officer Philip Hampton, Letcher County Treasurer under Judge Reuben Watts, Mike Watts' father. Dr. Wade Baker, one of their main doctors. Let's see. She was also on the UK Medical School Admission Board, who determined who would get into medical school. That's awful nice. Okay. So I thought that was very interesting. Okay. So let's look here. Oh, I gotta go over here. All right. So let me zoom it in so y'all can see it. This one is the MCHC full filing 2023. Revenue, contributions and grants. Current year, it was $12 million in contributions and grants. Program service revenue, $80 million. Prior year, $68 million. Investment income, current year for 2023, $470,000. I'm just gonna read. I'm gonna round them. Okay, I'm gonna round all these numbers to the zeros. Whenever I read them off. Other revenue, $152,000. Total revenue, $93 million in 2023 alone. $93 million. Remember, or those of you that have been following a lot of this with us, ARC took in $130 million in 2020. Was that 2020? I think that was 2023 as well. They took in $130 million. This is going to show us Medicaid payments as well. Salaries and other compensation, employee benefits. I think it's really important that we start looking at employee benefits, especially for like Whitesburg City, the Whitesburg mayor, the fiscal court, or maybe not the fiscal court. I don't know if they get anything like that. They shouldn't. But like, who was it? The, I guess it would be the Whitesburg city workers. Maybe the sheriff's department as well is where I saw a lot of those benefits being paid. Everybody can hear me good and stuff. Let me know. All right. Other expenses. Might as well say $35 million. I can hear you. Okay, good. Other expenses. Well, I wonder what other expenses are. Maybe it'll tell us. Okay, let's see. Revenue less expenses, about $9 million. Total assets. So that's net assets or fund balances. $72 million. Total liabilities. Only $13 million in liabilities for 2023. Net assets or fund balances, $58 million. Okay. We're going to go on down here. Maybe we should read these. I don't know. Checklist. Total program service expenses. I guess we should be reading it. Total program service expenses, $72 million. So, is the organization described? Other than is it a 501c3? Yes. So that means, is it a nonprofit organization? Yes. Now see, if y'all remember, one of my big pet peeves about these nonprofits is there's very, very little oversight on the budgets, the finances. You know, they can put in a budget and say, this is what we plan to do. But on the back side, you know, who's making sure that that's what they're doing. Who's going through and auditing all of these things? I mean, why would you hire an attorney and a Kentucky State Police, a retired Kentucky State policeman, as your CEO for a medical clinic? It just doesn't seem like something that you would normally do. Let's see. It seems more like it is a role of protect, than it is whatever else it could be. I don't know. Let's see. Did the organization engage in direct or indirect political campaign activities on behalf of or in opposition to candidates for public office? No. Did the organization engage in lobbying activities or have a section 1? Lobbying activities. Well, what is defined as lobbying activities? Is the organization receives membership dues, assessments, or similar? No. Did the organization maintain any donor advised funds or any similar funds or accounts for which donors have the right to provide advice on the distribution or investment of amounts such as funds? No. So nobody donated them any money and then were able to dictate to them anything. Okay. Did the organization receive or hold a conservation easement? No. Did the organization maintain collections of works of art, historical treasures, or other similar assets? No. Really? There isn't anything down there at MCHC that would be like Appalachian art in the building or anything? Did the organization report an amount? Probably wouldn't be part of the organization. Did the organization report the amount? I don't understand any of that. Hold assets in temporarily restricted endowments? No. See, I'm not smart about any of this stuff, so I don't know what any of it means, really. Did the organization's separate or consolidated financial statements include a footnote? No. Let's see. Yes. Did the organization report an amount for other liabilities in part? Yes. Okay, so we're going to be able to read it. Did the organization obtain separate, independent, audited financial statements for the tax year? Yes. So that means there's another audit, an independent audit. Supposedly, independent does not mean nothing to me. Absolutely nothing. Everybody works together around here. Everybody. Nobody would ask any questions. Did the organization about compensation of the organization's current and former officers, directors, trustees, key employees, and highest compensated employees? Yes, it tells us about it. Okay, we'll go on down. All this stuff is public record. So I need to get everything put back up on my Patreon. We need to start using the Patreon. So this was what we looked at last night, right here. Van breeding. So average hours per week, 40 hours a week is what he says he works. Highest compensated employee. Well, it's got them all checked. Position, do not check more than one box unless person is both an officer and a director / trustee. All right. Amount of other compensation from the organization and related organizations. So he gets $27,000 plus almost $2 million a year. Sorry, I thought I turned that off. Okay. April Sloan, 40 hours a week, $773,000. Wade Baker, doctor, $646,000. Jonathan Hatton. Now, Jonathan Hatton is also the brother of Jamie Hatton and Angie Hatton, the prosecutor and the state representative, who is now on the Public Service Commission's board, or, well, the Public Service Commission is a board, 3 people who approves, because they've sure never denied one, but they approve all the rate hikes for our power company. Yes. She started out as a state rep dealing with them, and then Andy Beshear appoints her to the Public Service Commission. Well, how much has anybody else seen anything that she's done that's been just so great for us? I mean, she can get up and give a good speech reading it off of a card. But other than that, I don't know what all she's done that has been so great for Eastern Kentucky. But that's just my opinion. And we all got one. All right. So Jonathan Hatton is one of them, one of the courthouse, related to him at the courthouse. Matthew Breeding is Van Breeden's brother, I think. He's at $621,000. Now, it says all of these people are the highest compensated employee. I guess it just means that they are the 5 most highest compensated employees. And then you've got these other officers, Mike Cottle, who's the policeman. He's the CEO, Chief Executive Officer. $256,000 a year. Now, this is also a little tidbit of information on a nonprofit. They can set their own salaries. Oh, yes, they can. All they need is the approval of the board of directors. That's it. And they can go and they can look at, they can Google and see what is a normal range, pay range for a doctor in Eastern Kentucky. They can look at that, and I would love to know how they justified Van Breeding getting paid like 3.5 times what everybody else got paid. I mean, you've only got 5 doctors there. You've got Van Breeden, you've got April Hall, and how she got above Jonathan Hatton and Matt Breeding, I don't know. But she got over 150,000 more than they did. The rest of them kind of are all in an somewhat equal range. And then you've got this other compensation over here that may kind of equal it out or even it out just some. It doesn't even it out, but at least it does put some on there. Like April Hall, her other compensation is only 7,000, 8,000. The rest of them, like Wade Baker's 25,000. Jonathan's 20,000. Matt's 21,000. Mike Caudle, $256,000 as a CEO of MCHC. Philip Hampton, the chief operating officer, so the COO, he's $100,000 less, 149,000. Teresa Dotson, the director of financial affairs, she makes 125,000. I mean, these people got some good living, ain't they? Mary Back, the CFO, she only makes 85,000. Man. And then here's our board members. Nanette Banks. Stephen Adams is the treasurer. Sherry Childers. Carlana Mullins. David Adams. Kathy Day. I know Kathy Day. She worked at the college over in Cumberland for a long time. Steve Peake. Ain't he a preacher? Ain't he the old man preacher in McRoberts? Jerry Hall. I don't know who any of those people are except for Kathy Day and Steve Peake. And that's if I've got Steve Peake right. If that's who I think it is. The rest of them, I don't know. Oh, here's some more. Individual, trustee, or director. Paul Pratt, chairman. Jackie Colwell, board member. Kathy Hall, vice chairman. Marianne Sparks, board member. Robert Musick, board member. And William Parks, board member. All right. Subtotal. Not sure what that's for. 5 million there for something. Says Steve Peaks is approximately about 70 years old. Oh, the other preacher is Willie Lamb. Yep, he passed away last year. Matt Breeding is Van's nephew, not his brother. Okay. Thank you. You see how we crowdsource this investigation? When I get them wrong like that. Because, man, I don't know. I don't know what these people's family tree is. I have no clue. But we're figuring it out. It's all so convoluted. How could anybody know? I mean, my goodness. There's a mailman in there somewhere. There's a mailman in there. Okay. Here, this was very interesting, I thought. Look at the independent contractors that they have paid in this. And this was for 2023. Okay. This was just for this 1 year. Golf Course Lane, Whitesburg, Blair Construction, general contractor, 217,000. Rose Office Systems, general contractor. Office Systems, they're from Saginaw, Alabama. $3,675,000 for 1 year. NC Bailey LLC, general contractor, $1,558,000. Case Bolt Broadcasting Media Services, $451,000. Infinity Teleradiology readings, only $236,000 for radiology readings. You only paid $236,000 for that whole year. That's all you paid them. Did you pay anybody else? Any other radiology reading? Was that the only one for that whole year? Surely not. That's where I want to see all the rest of that. Like where, because they have to pay out a whole lot of stuff. I want to see a lot of that accounting. Government grants, $12 million. Might as well say $12,168,000. All other contributions, gifts, grants, and similar amounts not included above, $382,000 even. Medicaid, here we go. Let's look at what they were billing. Medicaid for 2023, $33 million just in Medicaid. Remember, they said that they made $98 million. Medicare, $13,900,000. CI, UMWA, might as well say $6 million. Patient pay fees, $4,618,000. Pharmacy, $2,177,000. All other program service revenue, $20 million. Add lines 2A through 2F. So all together with all of this, it was $80 million is what they brought in Medicaid, Medicare, UMWA, patient pay, and pharmacy. $80 million. Investment amounts in income, including dividends, interest, and other similar amounts, almost $500,000, $500,000 just in investment income. I thought they had well, there's a whole lot of property. There's a whole lot of real estate that has also been accumulated by all of these very wealthy people, because they can't just have a little bit of wealth. They have to have it all. They have to have it all. There's no room for anybody else in Letcher County to make any money. They want to make it all. Make me sick. Rental income, $152,000. So the total revenue, $93 million. Compensation not included above to disqualified persons as defined, and persons described in section. So let's see what this is. Statement of functional expenses. Do not include amounts reported on lines up there. Okay, so compensation of current officers, directors, trustees, and key employees. Total expenses, $637,000. Zero in program service expenses. Management and general expenses, $605,000. Fundraising expenses, $32,000. What'd you spend $32,000 for fundraising for? Fundraising on. That's awful odd, ain't it? That you would spend tens of thousands of dollars for expenses to fundraise when you're trying to get them to donate funds. Compensation, total expenses, $42 million. Program service expenses, $37 million. Management and general expenses, $5 million. Fundraising expenses, $25,000. Other salaries and wages, $0. Pension plan accruals and contributions include employer contributions. This is just for 1 year. $685,000. And then program service expenses, $470,000. Management and general expenses for pension plan and contributions, $215,000. And then fundraising expenses, $0. That's a whole lot of money right there that they're contributing to, ain't it? See, that's what I mean. Their board of directors can approve whatever they want to approve, as long as it's within reason, right? As long as it's within reason. I guarantee you, They are not. They did not set this up to where they are on the end, like the rest of us are. Payroll taxes. $2,710,000 for total expenses. So who's paying the payroll taxes? Program service expenses, $2,277,000. Management and general expenses, $432,000. And then zero for fundraising expenses. Legal, $11,000 total expenses. Well, yeah, because you've got your CEO making $250,000 in his. That's a really great way to pay your legal, ain't it? You pay your legal, make him your CEO, make him give him $256,000 a year, and then just pay your legal $12,000 a year. That's really smart. That's really, really smart. Accounting, $246,000. Who does your accounting? You have a chief financial officer that gets paid $150,000 a year, or $250,000 a year. I forget which one. But then you pay accounting $246,000 in total expenses. Management and general expenses. Is that her salary there for the CFO? Maybe. I have no idea, y'all. I sure hope somebody's going through this with us. I can't see where it's got this window open. I can only see the comments on my phone. Other employee benefits, $3,725,000 total expenses for other employee benefits. Well, what kind of employee benefits do they get? And remember, there's only 5 of them? There's only 5 employees. There are 5 doctors, and then there's a handful of CEO, CFO, COO. What other kind of employee benefits do they get? So total expenses, it's $3,725,000. Program service expenses is another $3 million for employee benefits. So what employee benefits do they get through program services for $3 million? Management and general expenses is another almost $1 million. So $750,000 anyway. Let's see. Somebody gonna cut Alan's hair. Let's see. Compensation of current officers, directors, trustees, key employees. I'm way past that. Okay. Other employee benefits, payroll, taxes, legal, accounting, lobbying, 0. Professional fundraising services, 0. So why do you need all these fundraising services over here, expenses? I'm just asking. All right, advertising and promotion, 643,000 for the whole year, just 2023. Who did you pay for that? I guess probably the billboards and the TV commercials and stuff like that comes out of there. And then you got program services, 484,000. But still, you're talking about Eastern Kentucky. You're talking about Blacksburg. Allen. All right, let me get this back up here. All right. So, oops, sorry. Thought you were Alan. He was calling me and I'm on my show. Okay. All right. So, office expenses. Office expenses total for the year. Total expenses for office expenses, $16 million. What kind of office expenses did you all do? Total $16 million. Program service expenses, $15,972,000. And then management and general expenses, $374,000. Office expenses, what do you guys think about all these things? I think those numbers need an audit, they say. I do too. $16 million in a year for office expenses. Occupancy, 142,000, 139,000, 3,000. Travel, $200,000. They didn't spend a whole lot on travel. 118,000, 80,000. Conferences, conventions, and meetings. Well, they only spent $223,000 for that. So it wasn't like, but they spent $18 million on office expenses when they didn't even have any kinds of conferences, conventions, meetings. Interest, $230,000 in interest. That's it. Payments to affiliates, 0. Depreciation, depletion, $2,441,000 for depreciation. Insurance, they only paid $234,000 in insurance. You would think that a huge non-profit medical clinic would have to pay more in insurance a year, especially with how much money they're bringing in. They only pay $234,000 in insurance. Utilities, $512,000. Itemized expenses, not covered above. Miscellaneous expenses. Repairs and maintenance, $500,000 in total expenses. $290,000 in program expenses for repairs and maintenance. $209,000 for management and general expenses, repairs and maintenance. So they've spent $1 million in repairs in a year. I mean, I can see that. Yeah. But utilities, I would like to know how their power bill isn't as high as ours. That's a whole year. And MCHC's power bill ain't more than that. That's shocking to me. Consulting and contractual services, $10 million in consulting and contractual services. I can see that. Depends, but I'd like to know who and what all contracts you had. Licenses, dues, memberships, recruitment, $1 million. They probably do get a discounted rate. Yeah. All other expenses, $1,261,000. Total functional expenses, $84 million. Program expenses, $72 million. And then management and general expenses would be $12 million. And fundraising expenses, they've got over here, $72,000. $31 and $24, $5, $55, $64, and $71. Cash non-interest bearing. I'm getting the feeling that these numbers ain't exactly mathing. Do you all think that the math is mathing on all this stuff? Cash non-interest bearing, beginning of the year, $6 million. End of the year, $5 million. So $1 million less in their cash thing. Savings and temporary cash investments, $13 million. Pledge and grants receivable, beginning of the year, $6 million. End of the year, $3 million. Accounts receivable net, beginning of the year, $10 million. End of the year, $13 million. Loans and other receivables, zero. Inventories for sale or use, prepaid expenses and deferred charges. Land, buildings, and equipment, $53 million. Accumulated depreciation, $21 million. Beginning of the year, $27 million. End of the year, $33 million. Of course, All the money's in real estate right now. I'll make sure they get their hand in that too. Intangible assets, 515,000. Beginning of the year, end of the year, 2,100,000. Total assets, $72 million. Accounts payable, 64, 65. Deferred revenue, 3 million. Started out with 6 million. End of the year, $4 million gone out of deferred revenue. I'm not sure what that means, but it's a big chunk. Unsecured notes and loans payable to unrelated third parties. Unsecured notes and loans payable to unrelated third parties. $3 million. Who's that to, I wonder? Other liabilities, including federal income tax payables to related third parties and other liabilities not included, $2 million. Total liabilities, $13 million. Net assets without donor restrictions, 58,000. They don't have any donor restrictions. Total net assets or fund balances, 58 million. Total liabilities and net assets, 71 million, 72. Total revenue, $93 million. Total expenses, 84 million, of course. Revenue, less expenses, so they only made $9 million this year. Net assets or fund balances at the beginning of the year, 49 million. It's a hospital service. I don't think anything else is filled out. Let's see. Yep, here it is. Land, buildings, and equipment. Land, 2,775,000. Book value. Cost or other basis, accumulated depreciation, book value. Buildings, 21 million. Appreciation. Well, will that depreciation change every year? Who are my CPAs out there that know anything about this stuff? So every year they have to put this in there, right? With their land and buildings and all this stuff, because they're not gonna they're gonna have it every year. So every year when they file their taxes, how do they know how much the accumulated depreciation is every year? And wouldn't that go up every year? Does anybody know? Yes, depreciation changes every year. It's a percentage. Ah, thank you. Thank you. See, I don't know anything about this stuff. It's estimations. Okay. And so and they're probably the ones that are doing the estimations. You see what I'm saying? So these numbers, I'd say they're the ones coming up with their own numbers on stuff like that. A nonprofit, listen, nonprofit paperwork, I mean, it's going to be my mantra. Eastern Kentucky is the white collar crime capital of the world. It is. And you see how confusing and how difficult it is to read these things. If you don't know what you're looking for and you don't know, things that stand out at you, if you don't know what to put your finger on and to look for, you could read through all of this stuff and say, yeah, looks great, and stick your John Hancock right on there for them. And you have absolutely no idea that somebody, just committed fraud. Because if you don't know what you're looking at, you're not going to see it. You're not going to find it. Federal income taxes. This is the other liabilities portion. Interest payable, $44,000. Payroll tax payable, $2,515. You see how little their taxes are being a nonprofit versus if they were a for-profit, and they can just set their salaries at whatever they want to set them to, as high as they want to set it to. Basically, you see Van Breeden's he negotiated himself a really great salary, didn't he? Oh, yes, he did. Man, I mean, I'd like to have that too, wouldn't you? Unemployment tax payable. I mean, they ain't hardly paying nothing in taxes. Total revenue gains and other support per audited financial statements, $93 million. Total expenses and losses per audited financial statements, $84 million. So they're spending everything that they're making. Compensation committee. To see, indicate which, if any, of the following the filing organization used to establish the compensation of the organization's CEO and executive director. Check all that apply. Do not check any boxes for methods used by a related organization to establish compensation committee. So that means they had a group of people who discussed it. Look here, here's a breakdown of it. Van Breeding, base compensation, $400,000. Bonus and incentive compensation. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, where's it at? Where's it at? Sorry, I could not resist myself. Oops, crap. And I just exited out of it. Now see there. Okay. Let me get it back up here. That's what I get, ain't it? Dang it. That's what I get. There we go. I can see it that way. All right. Let's go all the way back down here. We had finally found the compensation. Almost. Okay. Oops. All right. 400 for base compensation. $1,123 for bonus and incentives. So could that be kickbacks? Could that be the kickbacks that were coming back from all of these rehab stuff? I don't know. Could it be kickbacks off something else? Could it be kickbacks off of any kind of thing prescription wise? I don't know. Other reportable compensation, he made $333,000. So that's why he made so much more than all those others. Because look there, mat breeding, $245,000. There it is. There it is. April Hall, she didn't make more. She don't make more. Well, yes, she does too. She makes $307,000 a year. But her bonus and incentives were $445,000. Nathan Wade Baker, $300,000 a year. His bonus and incentives were $312,000. Matt Breeding, $245,000. So he's the lowest paid of all of them. Matt Breeding is. Huh. Interesting. $340,000 in bonus and incentives. Jonathan Hatton, $274,000 a year, but his bonus and incentives was $351,000. Other reportable compensation, retirement and other deferred compensation, so they don't put anything into their retirement. Non-taxable benefits says negative, so I don't know what that means. Total of columns. Oh, I guess that's his total. Oh, okay. Total of all the columns. I don't know what those negative numbers are. Non-taxable benefits. Compensation reported as deferred, 0. Mike Cottle, so his annual pay is $250,000 even. His incentives $4,000. Other reportable compensation, almost $10,000. Non-taxable benefits, And then Philip Hampton, $144,000. He only got $2,000 in incentives, $4,000 in other compensation. It's very interesting, isn't it, to see all this breakdown. All right, business transactions involving interested persons, administrative office space lease, the wife of the CEO, so Rainy Day Corporation. I've heard that Rainy Day Corporation has popped up several times in some of my investigating stuff. So Van and Van's wife rent the space, the office space. So the nonprofit pays Van's wife $74,000 a year. And then the brother to the CEO. Oh, no. I said Van was the CEO. Van's not the CEO. Mike Cottle is the CEO. So Rainy Day Corporation. Oh, well, how is wife? Oh, so that's Mike Cottle's wife, not Van's wife. I'm sorry. Bad. Oh, so Baker Properties, a rental apartment, $5,000 a year. And then they pay Mike's wife. So not only does he make $255,000 a year, then him and his wife make an additional $75,000 to rent office space to themselves. So they're renting office space to themselves. Is that allowed? I know we couldn't do anything like that. Cars and other vehicles. Number of contributions or items contributed. 1. Non-cash contribution amounts reported. $382,000 car. Is that what it's saying? Cars and other vehicles. 1. $382,000. Am I reading that right? Are you guys reading that the same way that I'm reading it? Cars and other vehicles, check if applicable. Number of contributions or items contributed. 1. Non-cash contribution amounts reported on Form 990. 382,000. Are y'all reading this? Okay, explanation, supplemental form. The CEO and the owner of Baker Properties, LLC, Dr. Nathan Baker, MD, OBGYN, are brothers. The CEO and the owner of Rainy Day Corporation, Joy Cottle, are married. Mountain Comprehensive Health Corporation is a nonprofit corporation. We are a 330E grantee with a 501c3 status. Our governing board is comprised of board members who are consumers of our clinics and members of the community. Mountain Comprehensive Health Corporation Board of Directors has a membership committee who nominates any new members to be elected by the full board of directors. So they have to be, it sounds to me like they have to get through two, like, what is it called? Two-factor, whenever they make us set up our logins with two-factor authentication. They got to get through two gatekeepers committees to be a board member. I'm sure they go through a very, very strenuous process. MCHC Board of Directors approves all grants, budgets, and policies for the corporation. The board is also responsible for hiring and firing the CEO. The 990 is prepared by the CFO. It is then presented to the CEO, Director of Financial Affairs, and the COO for review. After approval by the officers, the 990 is presented to the Board of Directors Finance Committee for review. The Finance Committee will then make a recommendation in the board meeting for approval of the 990 to be submitted. Board members will then vote on approval of the 990 for submission. Mountain Comp is monitored throughout the year by our funding sources, and additionally, we have internal monitoring performed by our CEO. The CEO handles all the provider contracts and also establishes wages based on experience and local comparable wages. So the CEO handles and establishes wages, but I thought it said it went through the committee. All providers are on different contract terms and are reviewed annually. The CEO's contract is reviewed and approved by the board of directors. Well, up there in the thing, it says that they were, that their compensation was put together by a committee. And then here it says it's the CEO. Interesting. The 990 supporting financial statements, governing documents, and conflict of interest policies are available upon request. Well, we'll have to request some conflict of interest policies. Anybody that wants to do that, any of our diggers who would like to help, get us those conflict of interest policies. Because I think there are a ton of conflicts of interest with MCHC and the courthouse. Fiscal court, maybe, who knows? But we'll like to see. All right, guys. I'm tired. I'm wore out. I'm going to cut this one short. We were supposed to do Surviving the Survivor tonight with Joel. Me and Jenny were going to go on Surviving the Survivor this evening. And so I was trying to set my video earlier in the day. And then they canceled. Well, they didn't cancel. They just rescheduled it for next week. And so I just changed my time. I think, we've got a whole lot of craziness. Just a whole lot of craziness is going on. Jackie Caldwell is the wife of Charles Caldwell, former owner of La Peña's Mexican restaurant in Whitesburg. Fascinating. Dr. Breeding are in that Mexican restaurant so much. Now, this is a message I'm getting from somebody, so it's allegedly. So much that he paid $10,000 to have a room in the restaurant named after him. Talk about ego. The restaurant was wildly successful for years, yet never paid a water bill or any alcohol taxes to the city. Well, that is fascinating, and it does not surprise me one bit. Yes. They are hogs in Whitesburg. Now, we also have another guy who has kind of come forward and talked to me. Now, I don't mean come forward like he's coming on the show or anything, but I have had somebody that reached out to me and told me some things about old Daniel Dotson. I guess maybe Daniel is bi, because what we know about Daniel, which there's nothing wrong, whatever. People have their own personal whatever. I choose to be celibate and, worship the Lord and try my best to be better than what I was yesterday. I mean, that's just my goal every day. And I'm not trying to date nobody, and I'm not trying to get out here and run around. I'm almost 50 years old. I sowed my wild oats many, many, many years ago. All that is over for me. So, but everybody has to do their own come to Jesus stuff in their life, in their own life. So, a lot of these people and the things that we're talking about, they've not lived lives like I have, like people that have been addicts, and stuff. They've not lived that kind of life. They've not hit rock bottom like we did. They've been very successful in their careers. They have, Alan, they've been very successful in their careers. I'm working. You can let her one of them out. Okay. Good girl. Good girl. Sorry. Okay. So they've not lived lives like we have. They've been very successful in their careers. Like, yeah. Yeah. We've heard that Judge Mullins dealt with substance abuse. Substance abuse does not discriminate against anybody. And it's not just substance abuse. Look at what we're talking about. We're talking about or no pay. I think some people have had a real or no pay addiction, and it wasn't just to stuff that they watched on TV. I think people like DD had a very evil way. Like, I don't know anything about this stuff. BDSM and stuff like that, like people putting ball gags in their mouth and wearing red leather chaps. Getting out the whips and the chains. Can you see old DD now, buddy? With big red leather chaps on it. Oh my gosh. That image in my mind. Yes, Tiffany. It's a sickness. What we're talking about is really a sickness. It is. One of my sources said that one of the things that they like to do, this group, one of them was the director all the time. You know, he'd like to sit in the corner and watch in a chair or whatever. I don't even know. But he liked to watch. And I was told that he was very like mean and cruel. Like he would tell the man to do very demeaning and physically painful things to the girl. And remember, one of these girls was supposed to love. There ain't no love in any of this. There ain't no love in any of it. You know, if you think about where Daniel Dotson's office was, it was right across the street from the bar. It was right across the street from the courthouse, and it was right across the street from the bar. And so you had all these young girls going, and where do they go? Where do all the single, pretty party people go? They go to listen to live music. They go down on the weekends and drink. Well, one girl said that whenever she got done over there partying, that he was like, oh, well, come on over. You can come, I'm up here working. Come on over. And she said that she dilly-dallied around for a while, and she wasn't really sure she wanted to go up there. And she said she went over there, and it's just right across the street. And you just think, imagine 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever closing time is. And you've got girls who are very inebriated. So, you know, a lot of people are blackout drunk by closing time. You know, they're not just a little bit tipsy. They're usually blistered drunk and primed to be taken advantage of sexually. And so she says she finally makes her way over there and puts her hand. And the way that his office was, it's a door, like a glass door downstairs, or, you know, you open the door and it's a stairway. It's like an old, dirty, scary, real narrow. It's a real narrow stairway. And you just go straight up these steps, and it opens up into an office space upstairs. And there's kind of like, if I remember correctly, they've got like a little kitchen area there, a room, and there's a couple rooms there, because I guess it could have been an apartment. You know, I mean, it could be an apartment space. That wouldn't have to necessarily be an office space, but it is an office space. So he has his office that's got a door and stuff. And I heard that he had a massage table all set up there. But anyway, so she says she goes to the door and she grabs a hold of the doorway, and she was getting ready to open it. But she said, something in me just told me not to go up there. She said, something, I kept feeling, she said, I kept feeling it the whole time. But finally I wasn't listening to it. She said, I was going. And finally, she said, I just changed my mind at the last second. And I turned away from the door. And as she turned away from the door, she walks face to face, smack dab with one of the Whitesburg police officers. And he was going up to DD's. And he had told her on the phone, whenever he was, oh, come on up here, come on up. You can come on up and see me, but come alone. Make sure you come alone. She said, if I would have went up there, she said, I would have went up there and been stuck with both of them. And she knew what would have happened. I had somebody else tell me, several people, that he would try and get, when people go up there and try and hire him or go up there to talk to him about their case or whatever, he would try and get them over on the massage table. Just let me massage you. Just let me massage. I mean, come on. Who wants a dirty old man's hands like that on them? Especially him. Said that some lady went up there to talk to him about something and was sitting there at the table or at the desk. He said he opened his desk, opened a drawer and pulled out Smeck's toys and laid them on his desk. I mean, why would you do that? Made them very uncomfortable, and so he finally picked them up and put them back in his desk. What would you say if you were sitting there talking to an attorney about a case and they just pull out a big old DIL thing, you know, flopping it around in the air? I mean, that shows you. Part of me wants to say, oh, immature, but that's not immature. You're not a 70-year-old attorney at law who has been the commissioner over family court for the last, 30 years. This is the man, this is the judgment that we have had, taking people's children or not. Like, I don't even know what all to say about the diddler, but he's here. Everybody said that he moved away. He was in court all last week. He was seen down there all last week. He's here. Take a real man to understand that he's not a real man. Well, the boy that I spoke to, he said he got the hell out of Dodge. He said as soon as I started seeing what was going on, he said, I got the hell up out of there. Good for you, honey. Good for you. But, and then I was talking to a guy one day, and he was telling me about how they got their hooks in him, and how they just won't let him go. He got in a little bit of trouble, but they get you pulled in the court system, and then they just don't never let you go, over little stuff, over real small stuff. Now this is duties of elected officials. We've got it's a research commit. The Legislative Research Commission put it together. Let me go up to the top, and then we'll. Okay. We see it. Duties of elected officials. Look here. It's really fascinating. It's got all deputies, expenses, coroner. It's got everything. It's got different counties for Kentucky, judge executive, county jail, and prisoners. Let's see. There's so much here. I hate to even go over, pass over stuff. County police force. So I guess that would be the sheriff's department. Two statutory sections authorize a county police system. The fiscal court may, by order, establish a county police force merit system administered by a merit board. The board consists of the county judge executive and 4 persons appointed by the judge executive, subject to the approval of the fiscal court. The county police may organize for collective bargaining in any county with a population of 300,000 or more. Oh, okay. Well, then that doesn't apply to us. But that's really cool. And I didn't know that. County jail and prisoners. The county judge executive has several responsibilities related to the county jail and prisoners, and may inspect the jail at any reasonable time. If the jailer has submitted a written policy relating to prisoners working on community service projects, and if the fiscal court has approved that policy, the jailer may permit certain prisoners to work on those projects. The director of the entity for which the prisoner will be performing services must also approve the prisoner's assistance. The physical and mental ability of the prisoners must be taken into consideration, and they should not be assigned to unduly hazardous work. A prisoner may decline to work for a valid medical reason. Special districts, water districts. The county judge executive has duties relating to water districts. including appointing the Board of Commissioners and setting hearings on and determining the necessity of adding or striking territory from a water district. The county judge executive's responsibility in relation to water districts. So that lists all of his responsibilities. Fire districts. The county judge executive appoints 3 of the trustees of a fire district and plays an important role in the annexation or striking of territory by a fire district. When regular members of the fire department in a district exercise law enforcement powers, they are subject to the orders of the county judge executive. Bet you didn't know that, did you? All right, let's go down here. Fiscal court. This is our magistrates. So all of our magistrates that make up our fiscal court. This is relating to them. The fiscal court consists of the county judge executive and either the justices of the peace or the county commissioners. The county judge executive is a member and the presiding officer of the fiscal court by virtue of the Constitution. The courts have consistently held that as a member of the court, the judge executive has the same powers as any other fiscal court member, including the right to vote on all matters coming before the court. I know that has been a really, really big thing here. People have said that the judge executive only was to vote in a tie. That right there says otherwise. Says that he's allowed to vote on everything. So that clears that up. The county judge executive also has numerous other executive duties and powers independent of membership of the fiscal court. Chapter 2 provides a full discussion of the office of county judge executive. By contrast, the other fiscal court members have official power only when fiscal court is in session. When the fiscal court is adjourned, magistrates or commissioners possess no administrative or executive power in relation to city government. Only when they're sitting there in that meeting. That's it. Magistrates and commissioners may solemnize marriages when authorized by the governor or their county judge executive. Laws governing the fiscal court. The General Assembly has provided that, except as specifically provided by law, the laws governing fiscal courts composed of justices of the peace are applicable to fiscal courts composed of county commissioners. Exceptions to this rule are procedures for calling special meetings of the fiscal court and the method for breaking tie votes in the selection of officers and employees. If the county judge executive is unable to call a special session or refuses to do so on the request of 2 commissioners, the session can be called by 2 commissioners who believe the need exists. So they can override the judge. In the case of tie votes in the selection of an officer or employee, the fiscal court composed of commissioners may be given a last chance to resolve the deadlock before the appointment by the judge executive. General powers and duties. That KRS establishes an outline of the fiscal court's responsibilities. Under this statute, the fiscal court may appropriate county funds for lawful purposes, buy and sell county property, supervise the fiscal affairs of the county and county officers, and exercise all other corporate powers of the county. Further, the fiscal court may investigate. You can investigate yourself. all activities of county government and establish appointive offices and define their duties. He's got a lot of power. This statute also mandates certain fiscal court duties. The fiscal court must appropriate county funds for various purposes required by law. Additionally, the fiscal court is responsible for the construction, operation, and maintenance of county buildings, roads, and other property, and for the incarceration of prisoners. Incarceration of prisoners may be accomplished either by maintaining a jail or by contracting with another county to provide jail space. The fiscal court is also directed to adopt an administrative code for the county. This KRS outlines additional powers of the fiscal court, specific powers. Historically, the fiscal court has served as the administrative and legislative body of the county. However, its administrative and legislative powers have depended on specific delegations of authority by the General Assembly, and these have often been limited and narrowly defined. A clearer definition and a significant strengthening of the fiscal court's powers were provided by a 1978 amendment, frequently called the County Home Rule Statute, which recognized the fiscal court's powers to carry out governmental functions necessary for the operation of the county. Let's see. Well, I was trying not to have to read it all, but I guess I'm going to have to. Which recognized the fiscal court's powers to carry out the operation of the county and granted the fiscal court the authority to enact ordinances, issue regulations, levy taxes, issue bonds, appropriate funds, and employ personnel in the performance of the following public functions: control of animals and abatement of public nuisances. So that's our animal control. Regulation of public gatherings, public sanitation and vector control, provision of hospitals, ambulance service, programs for the health and welfare of the aging and juveniles, and other public health facilities and services, provision of corrections facilities and services, and programs for the confinement, care, and rehabilitation of juvenile law offenders, provision of parks, nature preserves, swimming pools, recreation areas, libraries, museums, and other recreational and cultural facilities and programs. So does that mean that our fiscal court could help with the Whitesburg swimming pool? Provision of cemeteries and memorials, conservation, preservation, and enhancement of natural resources, including soils, water, air, vegetation, and wildlife, control of floods, facilitating and construction and purchase of new and existing housing, causing the repair or demolition of structures that present a hazard to public health, safety, or morals, or are otherwise inimical to the welfare of residents of the county, causing the redevelopment of housing and related commercial, industrial, and service facilities in urban or rural areas, providing education and counseling services and technical assistance to present and future residents of publicly assisted housing. My gosh, I bet our fiscal court don't know none of this stuff. Planning, zoning, and subdivision control under KRS Chapter 100. Adoption by reference or in full of technical codes governing new construction, renovation, or maintenance of structures, regulation of commerce for the protection and convenience of the public, regulation of the sale of alcoholic beverages, exclusive management of solid waste, abandoned vehicles, provision of public buildings, armories, cooperation with other units of government and private agencies, provision of water and sewage, licensing or franchising of cable television, provision of streets and roads, bridges, tunnels, and related facilities, elimination of grade crossings, provision of parking facilities, and enforcement of traffic and parking regulations, provision of police and fire protection, promotion of economic development of the county. You know, I went to that funeral. I went to Jenny's dad's funeral with her, and I noticed that in Belfry and across the line, what are you spraying?
Freaking doggy.
Stop it. But whenever we went to Belfry and then crossed the line to Williamson, West Virginia, and they still had parking meters. They had parking meters down in downtown Williamson, West Virginia. And I said, and they were old-timey parking meters. And it was so neat. Like, they really had a great, downtown Williamson, West Virginia is just, it's a neat little place. It's really, really neat. And I thought, you know, that would be a smart idea. Put some kind of old looking, what's it called, vintage. Get some vintage parking meters and put them in downtown Whitesburg. And you could, I mean, it wouldn't make a whole lot of money, but it would make some. And it would be something that you could, you know, add to your funding for the city. But that's just my own little observation. Provision and operation of air, rail, and bus terminals. We don't have anything like that. Provision of historical structures. County fiscal affairs. Control and supervise most of the county's financial affairs, including budget, tax levies, payments from the county treasurer, and bond issuances. The county budget. Through its approval power over the county budget, the fiscal court controls the appropriations to various programs and activities of county government. A proposed county budget prepared by the county judge executive must be submitted to the fiscal court for comment before it is sent to the state local finance officer for initial approval and classification of expenditures into budget units. The fiscal court may change the budget proposal at this time. After approval by the state local finance officer, the budget returns to the fiscal court for final approval. Well, I don't have any faith in anything like that because nobody ever asks any questions. And even the ones that do ask questions, they might just ask a question and then they don't ever follow up with anything. They get told no and then they just huff and puff, cross their arms, and that's about it. You don't ever have any kind of debate that happens, you know, down there at the fiscal court. And I kind of get the feeling like there probably wouldn't even matter if they did, because I don't think Terry Adams much likes debate. It kind of feels like anytime somebody challenges something that he says or something, he just moves right on. He's not, I don't think he's willing to listen to anybody. He's already made up his mind. That's the perception that I get. County jail. If the county maintains a jail, responsibility for maintaining and operating it, as with other county buildings and properties, falls to the fiscal court. Although the jailer supervises the jail's day-to-day operations, the fiscal court's status as the county governing body permits it to prescribe rules for the jail and the treatment of prisoners, as long as such rules are consistent with state law. So it's the fiscal court's responsibility to make sure the treatment of prisoners is within reason and lawful, including standards relating to health, fire safety, administration, care, and treatment of prisoners, and medical care. Public advocate. Prior to 2023, each county, urban county, charter county, and consolidated local government with a judicial circuit containing 10 or more circuit judges, excluding judges of family court divisions, was to establish and fund an office of public advocate. Counties not otherwise required to had the option to do so. The requirement was repealed in 2023. Miscellaneous powers. Statutes delegate a variety of other powers to the fiscal court. The KRS provides authority to set the salaries of county officials and county employees, other than the county attorney and jailer, and those exempted by the statute. A resolution of the fiscal court is necessary to set salaries of county road employees, county park employees, and county firemen. In any county containing a city of the first class in which the offices of sheriff and jailer have been consolidated, fiscal court may establish that's not us. In any county containing an urban county government in which the offices of sheriff and jailer have been consolidated, that's not us either. The fiscal court of all counties within geographical boundaries established by State Cabinet for Health and Family Services may unite to establish a district health department. Well, we've got one of those. County governments may also expend funds or enter into associations to provide liability and property insurance for county officers and employees. Fiscal court meetings and procedures. Sessions of the fiscal court are held at the county seat or sometimes at the government centers in the county after required public notice. The law requires the fiscal court to meet at least once each month at dates set by the county judge executive, who may also call special meetings of the fiscal court at any time. A majority of the members of a fiscal court composed of magistrates may call a special term of the court if the county judge executive will not or cannot call the court into session. Where the fiscal court is made up of county commissioners, 2 commissioners may call a special meeting. Meetings of the fiscal court are within the scope of the open meetings law and are under most circumstances open to the public. Under this law, closed meetings are permitted for only a limited number of situations listed in the KRS statute. In addition to permitting access, the open meetings statute requires the fiscal court to make a schedule of regular meeting dates available to the public and to give public notice of called special meetings. Courts may render void any actions taken by fiscal court in a session in violation of the open meetings law. The majority of the members of the fiscal court constitutes a quorum for the transaction of business. A majority of the quorum is sufficient to take most types of action, but only a majority of the full fiscal court may enact a county ordinance. Records and documents. The fiscal court is a court of record. Minutes must be kept of its meetings and submitted for approval at the next meeting. The county budget, county ordinances, and other official actions of the fiscal court are a part of the permanent records of the county and must be kept in the office of the county clerk. So any of these meetings, we can request open records request. I was told that there was a very interesting meeting when Jim Ward was the judge executive. I'm trying to think what it was that they were wanting me to get, but they just keep record of the minutes. So even if something was, even if there was a big argument and something was said in that meeting, that's not going to be reflected in the minutes, in the meeting minutes. It's basically all minutes is an outline. That's it. Doesn't have any detail whatsoever. So the only way you're going to get that kind of stuff is if it's recorded. Are these meetings recorded? Are they audio recorded? Does anybody know? Are the audio? Would they have an audio recording of the meetings since it's held in a courtroom that's got audio capability? Probably not. As a rule, the records of the fiscal court and other county agencies and offices are open to public inspection. KRS opens the minutes of the fiscal court to such inspection, and the open records law applies. These statutes apply broadly to public agencies, including the fiscal court, and open most records to the public as a matter of right, provided that certain limits of reasonableness and agency procedures are observed. However, some records are confidential, such as personal matters and trade secrets are accessible only upon court order. All right. There's a whole lot in here. I mean, it tells everything. There's a whole lot. I don't know how many pages it is. There's sheriff. It tells the background, qualifications and term. 24 years old. Has to be a resident of the county for 1 year. Resident of the state for 2 years. Powers and duties, tax collection, election duties, services to courts, and law enforcement. We may read this next time. All right, guys. Thank you, Jesus, for another day being able to come together in your name, Lord. We give you all praise this evening, Lord. I thank you for your presence in my life, Jesus. Hallelujah. I love you so much. I'm so thankful for the favor. I'm so thankful for the blessings that you've given me. I'm grateful for the knowledge and the wisdom that have come through such hard and difficult lessons. I've never learned anything through success. I've only learned through failure. And I'm so thankful for all those lessons, Lord. So many times we just can't see what you're doing. We can't see far down the road. But you know all things. You know the end from the beginning. So you know what's happening. You know what we're doing before we ever even do it. I'm so thankful that you turned my life around, Lord. Thank you, Jesus, for dying on that cross for me. Thank you for saving my soul. I pray, Lord, that you forgive me for my sins every single day. I'm always falling short. I'm always saying something I shouldn't say. Hallelujah. I love you, Jesus. Please forgive me for my sins. Help me to be a better me tomorrow than I was today. Until we meet again tomorrow, Lord, we give you all praise, honor, and glory. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, guys. We've got a lot of new stuff. I just got to get myself a little bit more organized. Just keep praying for me in office. Keep praying me in office. The Lord will move. Fibber, safe help. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. Bless you. And then Donna, bless you. I love you too, sister. I love you too. All right, guys. Well, you have a great rest of your night, and we will see you on the flip side. Let's see. What do we got coming up? Surviving the Survivor, we rescheduled for next week. So me and Jenny will both be on that with Joel next week. Gavin is tomorrow. I'm gonna be going on with Gavin tomorrow night. It's at 7:30, and Gavin does his own thing, so we'll be on with Gavin's channel. But I always share it on my Facebook, and I'll try and remember to throw the post up on YouTube. And then I'll have a show tomorrow sometime. It'll either be before or after Gavin's. But other than that, I'm not real sure what I got going on. But all right, guys. Peace out, Girl Scout.
From hillbilly crime, you can't
Hide from hillbilly crime.
You may not know that there's a crew in town. The head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Dog passed away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Neighbors hide behind their blinds. Whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside. A treacherous reality in the pines.
Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight couldn't mask the cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise. All the secrets spill